Hello and welcome to A Long Road Productions. My name is Dr. Holly Jordan. I hold a PhD in political and cultural theory, a master's in Judaism, and I am a former professor of political science and religion. I am thrilled you are here for this month's short course, Politics 113, Culture, Politics, and the Prime Directive. Make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Throughout September, every Tuesday with some bonus sessions, we'll dive deep into the complexities of Star Trek's Prime Directive. We'll explore how it both protects and endangers cultures, and then compare it with the Time Lord's own non-interference policy in Doctor Who, and what happens when the Doctor actually sticks to it. We've also got a special treat, a guest lecture with Aaron Waltke, co-executive producer and co-head writer for Star Trek Prodigy. He'll share insights into the season 1 episode, All the World's a Stage. Stay tuned to the end of this video for a sneak peek of that conversation. Here's what's ahead for the month of September. We'll begin with an introduction to the Prime Directive, what General Order 1 actually says, and why it matters. Following this, I will analyze 5 times the Federation broke the Prime Directive and broke a society, exploring these instances through the lenses of politics and religion. Finally, I will release this month's long-form lecture, Oral Traditions, the Prime Directive, and the Enderprizians, which will investigate the unifying power of stories passed down through generations and their ability to inspire hope within societies. We'll also explore new content for this channel. As a companion to the main lecture, I had the privilege of interviewing Aaron Waltke about his work on Star Trek Prodigy. We'll delve into his history with Star Trek, his contributions to Prodigy, and the creation of the episode All the World's a Stage. To conclude the formal content for the month, I'll shift to Doctor Who and analyze the Series 14 episode Dot and Bubble as a Prime Directive story. As always, I'll round out the month by addressing your questions, comments, and ideas during my office hours. So please make sure to comment early and often, as you might just make the video. This month we'll be asking the important questions. Is the Prime Directive as morally sound as the Federation would like you to believe? Can botched first contacts result in improved societies? And what happens when the Doctor doesn't make everything all better? Other than, the entire premise of Torchwood. Please join us on YouTube as we unpack these topics and more from the perspective of religion, political science, and comparative literature. Check out the show notes for the episodes I recommend familiarizing yourself with if it's been a while. If you're new here, check out last month's short course, Religion 105, Vulcan Heretics. The playlist is linked below. For updates, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. If you'd like to support independent scholarship, join us on Patreon. For each level of support, there are bonus materials and content, including input on future months' short course topics, extended interview and bonus videos, private AMA hours, a Star Trek book club, and even one-time lecture requests. Links are in the notes below. I'm so excited to be studying the Prime Directive with you during the month of September. See you in class, everybody, and until then, be well, y'all, and live logs and proper. All right, so maybe let's move into the episode I'm writing an article about. All the World is Stage. What was the brainchild behind this episode?
Well, it's interesting because they say great minds think alike, or that there's parallel evolution where you kind of arrive at the same form of something but through totally different means. And after we had made the episode or started making the episode, I was like, why does this feel right? And then I remembered that I had read somewhere that I think it was Ron Moore for the episode that eventually became Trials and Tribulations on Deep Space Nine. That was originally going to be a return to the piece of the action planet. And I was shocked after I saw that. I was like, wait, what? Because if you remember in Piece of the Action and the original series, they go there and it's been culturally contaminated by a history book on the
Chicago
history
mobsters,
of Gangland, Chicago. And so then they arrive and it's the mobster planet. And then they have to hold like Gatling guns and dress up and there's pinstripe suits or whatever. I'm like, yeah, see? And it
So
was
good.
like wonderfully crazy premise that is burned into my brain forever. Um, but at the very end of it, in the classic almost Twilight Zone-y kind of ending, they realize they left a tricorder behind. And they're like, that'll be fine, right? And Ron Moore's idea was that they would return to that planet and you would find it would be this weird amalgam of Gangland Chicago, like Al Capone, but also mixed with Starfleet, like Starfleet ideals, which, that I can see why they backed away from that because it was like, that's like so many hats on hats of ideas, but it's a cool premise. Like I would have watched the hell out of that.
Oh yeah.
But I think the what I'm getting at with the sort of parallel evolution is that I think the idea, the very premise of cultural contamination is sort of like this curious thing that seems simple on its face, but then becomes more convoluted and complex and thorny of an issue the more you delve into it. And it's tied in with the whole prime directive idea. And the prime directive is sort of like a deceptively complex debate to be had about whether to leave alien civilizations alone or uncontacted cultures alone, or if you do believe that you should leave other contacts alone, when if ever are you supposed to contact them? When are you supposed to meet alien life? When is it okay? Um, and I think Star Trek could kind of mostly answer that of saying like anytime it's before they've reached a certain level of technology, it's almost always bad. Like it just goes poorly. But we were like that, I don't know if that's totally true. I think it would just be there are probably instances where it would just make things different, not not apocalyptic
Right.
necessarily. And it kind of left us thinking like, well, what about some of those alien cultures that met Starfleet? Like, how would that uh, how would those encounters go? Uh, Zooming forward 120, 130 years later. And I was specifically thinking about that, that end of Piece of the Action. I was just because as a kid, that episode haunted me. And I was like, well, what about the tricorder? And I puzzled that out a lot of like, what is, why would it be inherently bad if someone was exposed to the ideals of Starfleet? And I came to the conclusion that it wouldn't necessarily be that way. But it would probably evolve, and it would change the trajectory of the civilization.